Hey everybody, welcome back to EduPassion. So we are here for the 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time session featuring Cassie Reeder. She's going to be talking to us about being a new teacher and where do you begin. So welcome, Cassie. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. And we also have here Kate, who is in New York, and she is going to be facilitating for us. So thanks for joining us, Kate. And as always, my co-organizer, Shelly, is there as well. So right now, as Cassie is bringing up her slides, let's learn a little bit more about her. So Cassie Reeder's passion is working with technology to engage and expand student experiences by creating connections between classroom content and the real world. She has 5 years of teaching experience at the elementary level in 3rd and 4th grade. Aside from working to engage and inspire her students through the integration of technology into her daily curriculum, Cassie spent time during her teaching career training and teaching other teachers, which allowed her to find her true passion. By volunteering her free time as a Google guide in her district, as well as presenting at various conferences and ed camps around Texas, she discovered her ability to motivate and inspire others to effectively integrate technology into their classrooms. She is now an instructional consultant with Promethean, where she has the opportunity to share those passions and further develop those skills within a school district as she trains teachers on how to use and integrate Promethean products into their daily routines. Aside from her day job, Cassie is also one of the organizers of EdCamp Global, where she strives to seek out inspiring educators to facilitate in their events throughout the year. So you can follow her on Twitter at Reader_Cassie, as well as on her Facebook site, facebook.com/buildyourpln. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Cassie.
Okay, so I just want to say thanks for stopping by. I was just talking with Sarah, and she said that we've had a lot of people jumping on, and we really appreciate you guys jumping on to this amazing web conference today. So thanks for hanging out with me this afternoon. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some new teacher tips to having a successful school year. When I started this, I was like, oh, I'll do some stuff for new teachers. But as I was going through and kind of creating my presentation, I'll be honest with you, I feel like this kind of session, or whatever we're calling it, it can really be used for anybody. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as Sarah said, she gave you a lot of background information about me. The only thing I want to add in there is that I really, in the past, I would say, year or so, been focusing a lot on pushing myself as well as others, and I'm really working on my growth mindset. So with that being said, I'm in a Voxer group, which I actually joined at EdCamp Voxer, which Sarah also does because she's amazing. And I learned about this book called Kids Deserve It, and I'm going to be using that as my resource where I got a lot of information as I was putting this together. So I just wanted to shout out the Kids Deserve It book. It's amazing, and you guys should definitely check it out. So I'm going to go ahead, and the first thing I want to talk about is the chapter in the book called Leave It in the Car. And I think I was trying to break this up into how I would look at it throughout like a typical day and try to put it in that order. So obviously leave it in the car sounded like it would be the first thing because that's where we start before we walk into school each day. So some of the things that I really liked about this, and I really want to encourage the new teachers to do, is make sure that you leave your personal problems outside of school. I feel like that's easier said than done in many ways, but maybe hearing it over and over again will remind you. Because our kids have a lot of things going on at home, and we don't even know many of the things that they have to deal with each day. So for us to be working with these students and then bringing in our own issues, that can just throw our day off. So we really need to be in that positive mindset every time we see our kids, and we need to be pushing them to do their very best. And when we're not in a good mood and we're not in a place where we can, focus on them and their needs, then we're not going to be on our A game, and we always have to be on our A game. So before you leave the car every day, take a deep breath and be positive, and leave all the other stuff in your car because it'll be there when you leave school. But you've got to take your A game every time you walk through those doors. And not only will this help you with your students, but it'll also help you in your relationships with other people in the school, like your coworkers and things like that. So the next thing I want to focus on is those relationships. It's all about relationships. And my last year of teaching, I definitely learned that relationships is like the game changer. If you have a good relationship with your coworkers and the staff and your students, it's going to be much easier to get through the year, especially when things get hard. So when we're thinking about relationships with our kids, they deserve to know that they're cared about unconditionally. And you have to realize that, again, they're going through things that we don't even know about half the time. And whenever we show them that we care about them, that might be the only person that day that, puts on a positive, happy face and is treating them kindly. So you need to be that person to be there for them and support them. And you have to ask yourself, are you really listening to your students? Because every day we go to school, there's like tons of things that you're dealing with all the time. And you have to remember, and it's very difficult, but you have to remember your main reason for being there. It's not obviously a nice, huge paycheck at the end of the month. It's your students. That's why you started teaching, and you've got to make sure that you're paying attention to them and their needs and really, really listening to them. Open up your arms wide and show them that you care about them. So even if you don't do, the greatest job of teaching them all of the math skills they need to be loved and supported, and that's our job. So make sure that they know that you're there for them. And it will get difficult, but don't give up the fight because it's totally worth it. And my first few years, I would say that I won't say I was there for the wrong reasons, but I would say that I didn't really know where to find my place. But once I really spent a lot of time last year, my last year in the classroom, building my relationships with my kids, every single day I was excited to be there. And it was totally worth it just because of the relationships and the time that I was able to spend with the kids and the things that I was able to learn from them. And you are making an impact, even though it might seem like the world is crumbling around you. You are making a huge impact on your kids. And this is something that I've realized after coming out of the classroom. I still have so many kids that are like, I have a kid that texts me now, and she's talking to me all the time, and she's like, everybody misses you. And it's kind of hard because I miss them, but I know that I made an impact on them and that what I did my last year was totally worth it. And this is one of my students that I wasn't really sure last year how he was doing in the school year, but I remember the last week of school, every single day, was like wanting to bring his cell phone to school, and just every day he would ask me if he could do that, and I was like, I don't know why. But then I talked to him, and I talked to his mom, and he wanted to bring his cell phone because he wanted to take a picture with me so he could remember me. And that is really small thing, but it meant a lot to me for him to want to bring his phone just to take a picture of us together because he wanted to remember me. So even the littlest things can make a huge impact. And one of the ways that I was able to work on that relationship with my students last year, I actually met Angela Mayer, she's in this picture with me. I met her last year at TCEA, and she has a book out, and if you actually visit this website, choosetomatter.org/liberatinggenius, you can get a copy of the book, and it's kind of like her introduction to Genius Hour, but within that, there are tons of lessons teaching your students about persistence and like never giving up and just all of these really important values that they need to have. And I use those lessons in my morning meeting every day to work on that relationship with my students. And it was probably, it was a game changer. So I definitely recommend trying that out because that's where I got a lot of ideas that I used with my students. And it was like a 15-minute thing I would do at the beginning of every day. And even though you are taking out 15 minutes of your day, it's totally worth it when you've got that relationship. You can get them to do a lot more than you ever would without it. So. The next thing I want to talk about is leadership, because leadership is something else that I was able to develop a lot more my last year teaching, and it is huge. Again, this is something that's not only with your students, but with your coworkers, and also with parents. Like when you've got those leadership skills down, and it does take time, but it's going to benefit you immensely. So effective communication is huge. And again, building those relationships, but not only just with everyone, really focusing on building relationships with positive people. You've got to surround yourself with people that are going to push you to the next level, and you consequently will be pushing them as well. Take risks and be different. Now, this is something that is kind of harder, I would say, as a new teacher, because you're still trying to find your place and figure out what you're doing. But, you know, if you have an inkling and you want to try something, just try it. Like, don't be scared. And if you fail, then you're going to fail forward and you're going to learn from those mistakes. And I think that having a growth mindset and being willing to fail is difficult, but I think it's totally worth it in the end. And setting goals and striving to reach them. And remember that it's not a competition. It's not about who has the best this or the best that. Your job is to be there for those students, and all you really need to be doing is pushing yourself and others to succeed. So whatever is going on, you just have to remember to be a good leader and to set an example for your students and for those other teachers around you, because they're watching you too. And if you have a positive attitude, they're going to want to pull from that, and they're going to want to try new things with you. And I think the last thing I'm going to go for here is doubting yourself, because I feel like that can be done really easily, especially when you do have those people in your building that are competitive, and they always seem like they have to be on top. When you're doubting yourself and you're letting them take over, then you're not going to be at your best. So don't doubt yourself. You're there for a reason. Don't do it. Some of the top things that we can get in our mind and slow us down is that we think nothing positive is happening. There are always going to be those Debbie Downers who want to pull everybody down, and it's really easy to get on their side and let them bring us down. But we have to remember that that's not the case. You've got to turn a new leaf and try to view it from the other side. Another doubt that I heard or really thought myself was, can I do this? And sometimes it just gets to be too much. These are all things that are very commonly, I guess, thought of in the education world. But you have to remember, and I really like this quote, so I put it in here. Everyone was given amazing gifts that others around us need to hear about and learn from. Don't doubt that. And sometimes it takes a while to kind of discover what your gifts are. I really didn't know what I was strong at as far as teaching till my last year, but I was able to use those gifts and really hone in on the areas that I was strong and use them to help me to reach new goals and do a lot of things that I'd never been able to do before. So you have to find your gifts and really focus on honing in on those skills. How do you do that? You do that by surrounding yourself with people that remind you that you and your work matter. And remember, before I said those Debbie Downers, you don't want to be around with those people. You want to be with people that are positive and motivating. And this is huge. The small successes can create the tiniest spark of hope. So even the smallest successes that you find can have a huge impact on you and keep you going, even whenever it's really, really challenging and really hard and you're super busy, especially around testing season. The smallest successes can be huge. We've got to support each other. We have to support each other in a huge way or a really good way to do that, even if it's not people on your campus that are supportive of you, because you might be on a campus where there isn't a lot of, positivity, and there are a lot of people that are really negative. But that's why being on social media and attending conferences like this, going to ed camps, joining us at Ed Camp Global, being on Twitter, being on Voxer and Periscope, those are where you find the people that you are going to be able to connect with and will really help you to thrive and really succeed. So don't stay away from social media. Get in social media, find your people, and stay with them. And I'm actually doing a passion pitch after this on social media, so make sure to join me there so you'll see some more resources and things that I've kind of collected on that. So this is kind of where I'm going to finish up, I think. But the most important thing I want you guys to remember is to find your people, like I was mentioning, and talk with them often. These are my people, Jamie and Deborah. They're messes, but I love them, and they've really pushed me to become what I am today. And so you can connect with me on Twitter. As Sarah said before, I'm also on Voxer. I do have a Facebook group that I'm trying to start. It's facebook.com/buildyourpln, and I've got a bunch of teachers on there. And I haven't been able to really do a lot on there yet, but I want to have that as a place where we can share ideas and bounce ideas off of each other. So any of those platforms, you can join me, and I'm here to support you guys and help you any way I can. And I also have a blog, which I just started up. I've got one post on there right now, but I've got a lot of plans for things coming up. So any of those platforms, you can definitely connect with me, and I'm here, again, to support you in any way that I can. So, okay. And I just want to say again, thank you guys for stopping by. Early means a lot. And then there's my class. This was my last group of kiddos, and they taught me a whole lot about myself, even in my 5th year of teaching. And I miss them a lot, but it was a great year, and I'm just glad to be able to share some of the things that I learned in my 5 years in the classroom, and be able to hopefully impact you guys and help you out as well with those things. So. See.
Okay, so Cassie, thank you so much. We had a lot of great comments for you.
Awesome.
And so one of the comments was that Tiziana, she says, thanks for the words, which can really engage people who are new in the world of teaching. And then Peggy George had a lot of great comments to say, but one of her remarks was on the concept of falling forward and how important that is. And did you want to expand a little bit more about that concept?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it just means being willing to try new things and realize that you're not always going to succeed the first time. I mean, it may take you, I mean, it took me 5 years to really find my, I guess, home in the classroom and figure it out. So, I mean, it took me 5 years to be able to get to where I was. And, you know, again, that was a lot of trial and error. And if you fail, you've got to be willing to get back up and try again. And I think that, you know, if you're somebody that's willing to fail and make mistakes and then you learn from those, ultimately that's going to be a much more meaningful experience that you'll have instead of just always getting things right. And even with our students, I think that, I guess I'll just throw this out there too, not only as a new teacher, but also with your students, you have to be willing to show them that failure is okay, and, you know, do that with examples and show them real life examples of you failing as a teacher and how you worked through that to find successes. And we've got to teach that to our students too, because they, as they're learning and going through the learning process, you know, they're going to fail a lot, but you've got to be willing to show them that it's okay. So.
Now, another comment was made how, I know you said you were just starting your new blog, but
yeah,
a comment was made, though, that you seem to be experts and great at Periscope. So, and
yeah,
I love Periscope was shared. Do you want to share, like, why you're so enthusiastic about Periscope and how you think that it would really benefit teachers?
Yeah, I am a little obsessed with Periscope, I would say. I really like it because, I mean, I really actually push teachers to, or really educators in general, to try, you know, Periscoping, because I like it in the fact that you can just kind of put your thoughts out there and, you know, people can talk to you through it. But if you just want to sit there and tell your thoughts, kind of like what I'm doing here, nobody's like really saying anything, but you can just put it out there for everybody. And then, you know, I don't know, I feel really empowered when I do Periscopes, because it's a platform where I can share my thoughts and not really worry about what people are saying, or you know, I mean, they kind of take what I say and then they form their own opinions on it. I feel better about it because I can do it at any time. And like here, where we're kind of talking back and forth, but with Periscope, you just say what you want to. And I guess I'll go ahead and put it out there too. On Boxer, we have a Power of Periscope group. And that is something that if you guys haven't really done a lot on Periscope, I encourage you to check that out, because we basically just support each other as people are trying out Periscope, and we kind of give like challenges each week, like do a Periscope on, you know, something you learned this week or something. So yeah, I don't know. I love Periscope, and I just think it's really cool. But even Facebook Live, I've kind of dabbled in that a little too, but I find that my Periscope people are a little bit more education related, so I really like that. So.
Thank you so much. You did an excellent job. There's a lot of people who are just giving you a lot of kudos and congratulations and just were saying right on and, you know, agreeing with everything. So thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and head out so we can see you again. If you want to watch Cassie again, then you can go ahead and you can catch her. She's going to be coming on in a sec again, doing one on social media at the Passion Pitch event. So thank you so much, Cassie. And thank you again to our facilitator this hour, which is Kate Zakarewski. I hope I didn't chop that up too much, Kate. And we will see you at the next one. Bye, everyone.